Donc, bienvenue à tous. Merci d'avoir répondu présent à ce nouveau rendez-vous. Donc, on a appelé ça les mardis d'Objectif Hand, puisque, en fait, je ne sais pas si vous le savez, mais donc avec Sébastien qui est aussi présent ce soir, qui lui va faire l'interprète de la conférence qui effectivement s'occupe de Handball. On a créé depuis janvier ce webzine, Objectif Hand. Et vous avez la primeur ce soir puisque le nouveau numéro va sortir demain matin. Donc voilà, et c'est dans le cadre en fait d'Objectif Hand, des contenus qu'on propose dedans, qu'on s'est dit on va voilà, proposer ces webinaires. Et on a décidé d'en faire un rendez-vous tous les réguliers, tous les mardis de la même heure, 18h30 à 19h30, qui seront ouverts à tous. Donc, on les lance ce soir et on est très content de les lancer donc, sur ce thème. Donc la 3-2-1 et son évolution, présentée donc par Dragan Djukic, un entraîneur donc, qui a été entraîneur de grands clubs européens, qui a été entraîneur des sélections de Macédoine, de Suisse, et donc qui a écrit ce livre Back to Basics, 3-2-1 Back to Basics, qui reprend et qui explique la 3-2-1. Donc, pensez à bien couper vos micros. Et donc, en fait, Dragan va traiter de ce sujet-là ce soir. Donc, je vous propose en termes d'organisation, c'est qu'effectivement, il va faire sa présentation de l'ordre de 40-45 minutes. Donc, et on va laisser toutes les questions à la fin de ce moment d'échange. Ceux qui voudront dépasser, on a vu avec Dragan, il n'y aura pas de souci. On pourra dépasser l'heure pour tous ceux que ça intéressera et éventuellement continuer à poser des questions. Il sera totalement ouvert à ça. Ce que je vous propose, c'est qu'on peut fonctionner de plusieurs manières. Vous pouvez poser vos questions dans le chat. Alors, si vous pouvez, posez-les en anglais, ce sera encore plus facile à les transmettre. Par contre, vous pouvez bien sûr les poser en français. Et bien sûr, après la présentation, on pourra aussi vous pourrez poser vos questions en direct, caméra et micro ouvert. Si la bande passante passe bien, ce sera effectivement sans souci. L'idée, c'est vraiment de faire ces rendez-vous, des moments d'échange, de partage. Voilà, vous connaissez maintenant la philosophie un peu de ce qu'on propose sur entraînement de balle, sur Handball, et puis avec le magazine Objectif Hand aussi. Donc, je vais laisser la parole à Sébastien, qui, lui, va faire l'animation pendant toute la conférence. Moi, je prendrai vos questions dans le chat, j'accueillerai les gens qui vont arriver avec du retard, et on pourra commencer. Donc, du coup, je laisse la parole à Sébastien pour présenter Dragan et lancer la conférence. Bon webinaire à tous et à tout à l'heure.
Très bien, merci Philippe. Bonsoir à toutes et à tous. Donc, du coup, on va commencer donc, ce premier webinaire sur la défense 3-2-1 avec notre invité Dragan Djukic. Donc, I introduce you, Dragan. You can introduce you to the people, and after we can talk about the subject, the defense 3-2-1, if you 3-2-1. Sorry, if you will. Okay. Ok, donc pour tout le monde, donc on va faire une petite présentation succincte de Dragan qui va se présenter auprès de vous. Et puis après, donc on va parler donc de ce sujet, quoi, sur la défense 3-2-1. Donc n'oubliez pas, comme vous a dit Philippe, on coupe les micros. Et puis si vous avez des questions dans le chat, etc. Donc à ce niveau, il n'y a pas de souci, on se fera un plaisir de les transmettre à Dragan et qui fera la même chose de vous répondre. Voilà, parfait. Ok, so Dragan, we can begin with you with a little introduction, if you will.
Okay, but I'm not a fan to lose any minute of this presentation to present myself. I can say shortly, I have to apologize that my French is not good enough. And I have to say, Philippe, that I was a coach in Montenegro national team, like last Macedonia and Switzerland, and a lot of national teams. And some of the big European clubs, like is Pik Szeged from Hungary 4 years, or Vardar Skopje from Macedonia, or Chesama in female competitions. And all those things are something what stay in the past. Future is something what I like to speak, and I will invite all of you to enjoy, to make this not one-way direction speech, just to ask all your questions, everything what you want from me to know what I can help you to understand the philosophy of 3-2-1 defense. Because on the beginning, we spoke, Philip and me, just before we start, that there is really a lot of reason why we can speak about 3-2-1 in our days. And Sebastian, if I can start, I would like to share the screen and to start because our time is running.
Yes, of course. You can start with the defense 3-2-1 with pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. We will start. I separate this presentation in 3 parts, using all 45 minutes what I have to present you some things what I find that are important. And on the beginning, we should start from the beginning from the theoretical part. And I find it like very important if you want to understand complete philosophy. But we will speak, I call it this inside view because I'm coming from the country called Yugoslavia, what doesn't exist anymore, when people start first actually in Croatia, Croatian coaches to develop one idea what looks very revolutionary in time when was born. But honestly, I see even more reason now to adjust this philosophy for the modern handball. And if we want to speak about any defense, we have to speak about some important things, and we will start this from the beginning. Every defense have some factors what we have to know. First of them is collectivity. I hope that you see my screen, every one of you, and that's, I call it this like synchronization of all individual activity. Then second one is something what usually coming to 3-2-1, but let's be honest, modern 6-0 is also defense what make a pressure on the player with the ball or on the trajectory of the passes.
Dragan, excuse me, we see your screen, but we don't see your presentation. We have your file.
Good. I will open again and try to move it.
I think it was not a good window.
Good. Do you see it now?
No, not for me.
No, don't have, no.
Okay. Let's stop to share and start again.
Yes. Okay.
Can you see it now?
It's all right. It's all right for us.
Good. I hope that you see now the first page.
Yeah.
When I speak about basic principles of any defense system, I already mentioned collectivity and aggressiveness, but something what coming from philosophy of attack, looking for the other side, is numerical advantage also, overload, call it, that every defense try to overload on the ball side. Of course, there is no serious conversation without anticipation. What does it mean? That to estimate, to predict what will happen next, and to keep active position. What does it mean? If you want to protect the players in our days, what more than 100 kilos and 2 meters, it will be very difficult to stop them if you stay behind them. That means keeping active position, I will speak about diagonal stance later, is the crucial things. Of course, there is one position in the team what we cannot stop to talk, that's goalkeepers, and cooperation with the goalkeeper is extremely important. Actually, you cannot choose to play this defense if you don't have a goalkeeper good from wing position in 6 meters, but even in 6-0, we see from the Bundesliga that cooperation with the goalkeeper is one of the most important things to speak about the defensive system. Then I don't like this word discipline. I prefer the word to respect defensive principles, but if we play some defense, we have to respect the principles of them. Individualization is something what talking about that player with the good individual skills is easy to play in any defense. That's why we have to insist, we should insist when we work with our players that they are good one-on-one, and then it's easy to adapt them on any defense system, 6-0, 5-1, 3-2-1. Versatility of the player mean that motivation to improve not just to play in defense or attack, also to play with and without ball in defense, in attack. And of course, something what we speak in our days is these destroyers or specialists for defense. They are modern term, but I have to say motivation to play in defense will bring the player to the court. And for me, most important things, and if I have more time, I will speak much more about selection, is do we have this segment of the game when we select the player as a primary vision? What does it mean? If our wings are 1.60 m or 1.70 m and not strong, fast, and tall enough to play as a half player in 3-1 defense, then it's very difficult to speak about 3-1 defense. That means when we select the kids, when we speak about young age categories, we should also keep in mind this part of the game, defense, and make selection. To make this speech serious, I have to make systematization of technical, tactical activities. And of course, we have for the players and goalkeepers, but what does it mean, technique? What technique teach us? Technique give us answer how to do some things. And there is a lot of things in any defense, like its basic stance, movement, changing of direction, avoiding the screen, moving out, moving to close, or gaining the ball, and all these things on individual level, each player need to know. That means technique teach us how, and tactic teach us when we should do these things. And of course, there is an individual, group, and collective tactic. And I mentioned here some of individual, covering attacker space, ball, gaining the ball, prevention of the fast break, etc. And groups, there is a two, what I mentioned here, and I want to keep them in mind. First one is handover, takeover. That is usual for any defense. In 6-0, if player number 2 is out, player number 1 and 3 has to cover his back, simply. And second is important, that is collaboration in moving out and closing. And you see here these triangles, and I will speak later about them. And when we speak about tactics, of course, we have tactics in attack, we will not speak tonight about, and we have tactic in defense. And if we speak about tactic in defense, of course, we have individual, group, and collective. And I mentioned here what is all these things, and I will put a little bit on the screen just to have in your mind what we have all. But tonight we will speak about collective tactic in defense. And you see here that we have a different things. We can play in inferiority. Actually, in our days, we have a lot of 6 versus 7 playing. Then 5 versus 6 when we have one player less. Then playing in superiority, if opponent don't change the goalkeeper, then we play 6 versus 5. Then playing in specific situation like is 5 versus 5. Then collectively stop the counterattack, and a lot of different things. But tonight, our target is to speak about one of defensive systems and how we describe them. Defensive systems, we can separate by system covering the man, covering the players, and that can be individual defense, defensive, half offensive, offensive, and pressing, and defensive system covering the space, zonal system. And 3-1 is one of the classical zonal system. And your question, what you already maybe some of you have prepared, many of answer will give you this fact that in this defense, is like in 6-0, 5-1 or other, we protect the space. You can see here in green and red some strength and some weaknesses. Of course, there is a lot of them, and of course, we can speak about all of them. But some defensive systems, like a third group, is combination. That this 5+1, 5-1+1, or 1-5, or 4+2, a combination of two systems, one zonal, 5 players play zone, and 1 player play in individual system. That means those are combination system. But let's give the answer. What is defense? When does it start, actually? We have 3 defensive phases. First, very important in modern handball, is to stop transition, to stop the fast break, to stop the fast throw off. And we can do it individually, grouply, and collectively. Second, very important part is playing in unorganized defense. And third is playing in organized defense. And most of us practice a lot, most of us coaches practice a lot this with our players, playing in organized defense. But honestly, how much we practice playing in unorganized defense, that means in the moment when we are back, when we are not on proper position, when all players are not on space, and how much we practice this to stop the fast break, but collectively as a team. To speak about any trend, and you know there are many trends in our lives and also in sport, we have to speak about successful teams, because mostly every one of us will copy how play the most successful teams in our sport, how play the national team of France or Denmark or Spain and Croatia, or how play the most successful teams, European champions, Barcelona, Kiel, etc. And here is just a sentence what speak about not just my philosophy. Motto, defense is the best attack, is something what gained the trophies. We have in last 10 years, from 2012 until our days, we have 13 big competitions, 3 Olympic Games, 5 European champions, and 5 world champions. And we have 3 group of teams with quality. First group, without any doubt, is group of 4 teams, France, Denmark, Spain, and Croatia, who mostly play in all semifinals on big events. Then teams who also are close to this group are Norway, Sweden, and Germany, what are usually on the podium very often. And then third group of teams, like Poland, Slovenia, Serbia, Qatar, with gaining medal, and Hungary and Egypt playing in semifinal, finish this group of teams with quality. And there is a things what speak why this happens, but I will try to answer with this sentence. Main feature of successful teams, doesn't matter, national teams or club, is a recognizable defensive system. What does it mean? Each of those nations, when we say France in our day, that means 6-0. If we speak about France 10 years ago, that was 5-1. But each of those nations, if you say now Croatia, you will say 5-1. If you say Denmark, you will know that they play 6-0. And when I speak about them, I ask every one of us, what can be your own system? What can be your own characteristic? And actually, which defense to choose? First, and very important, is to know what is your team, what is your playing staff, what players you have. Second, it's important to characteristic of your opponent. Probably you will not play so deep and so offensive if opponents don't have some great shooters from outside. Third, and very important, is physical preparation of your team and individuals inside your team. And actually, maybe most important is preparation time. If you have enough time to prepare, you will be able to play any defense. But let's Remember this, the 3-2-1 is primary zone. What does it mean? That zone protect the space independently from the number of players inside. And you will see a lot of questionable things for you if you are not familiar with this zone, especially when we have a role of center half. But you will understand always if you know that each player has to protect his space, his zone, and then is everything so simply. But every zone must satisfy 3 principles. First, has to be compact. And for me, that's the most important question. If you have 6-0 and you separate in 2 parts, then this is not defense anymore. Defense has to be compact. Second, has to be deep. And third, has to be wide. And you'll see that this is contradictory, because if you are compact, yes, you can be deep, but you cannot be so wide. And I have to say that 6-0 modern days, 6-0 is also defense what have all these 3 factors inside, but honestly, that has to be perfectly coordinated, because 1 player is moving out and 2 covering the space. And that means that you have 4 players what has to function perfectly. But if you change one of them, or if some of them receive 2-minute suspension, you have to start again from the beginning. With 3-2-1, you don't have these problems, because in 3-2-1, all these rules are strict. And you will see, usually when I joke, I say I can send by mails rules. And then after 1 practice, player will be sure what they have to do. Why to play 3-2-1, how to play 3-2-1, and when to play 3-2-1, I will start to speak now. But what you need, if you decide, if for you looks interesting to play this defense, what you need, what is requirements? First, let's be honest, there is no 3-2-1 if your players are not, you see here, extreme. I will not say extreme, I will say physical preparation on the high level is first condition for you if you want to play 3-2-1. Second is excellent footwork. The player in defense never stops. Third, all your player has to know complete task and individual task. And for me, this is something what we have to improve with our players and with our team. We have to work with them much more on theoretical base. And of course, they have to be synchronized and communication must be on the high level. For me, defense is easiest way for the young player to come on the court. And I don't understand if young players play in our teams just in attack. Why? This defense actually attack attackers. That's something what is very important for you to understand. If player with the ball is not attacked, if he has time to think, to resolve, he will always find solution. But if he's attacked in the moment when receive the ball, then it's very difficult to resolve this defense. Then this defense react with the ball, all movements coming with the ball, and it's not afraid of the individuals. And you see here some of the names, outer, center, halves, and front center, and you will see it on the next pictures. But what are some basic principles? I mentioned already that you have to move with the ball, and you cannot move, your players and your team cannot move before because they will open the space, or after because it's too late. Players move just in the moment when ball traveling. Then you have to close the passing channel and breakthrough channel. And if is there any dilemma what to stop, the player or the ball, this defense has advantage when we move with the ball, because we have one target, we are deep in compact, we are successful against good shooter, and there is no possibilities for misunderstanding. There is some disadvantage, of course. I told you, physically and mentally is demanding, and needs the discipline and respecting the rules. Of course, offer more chance for 6-meter shoot, and of course, looks from outside aggressive, and there is a risk of section. And some of you will say, Dragan, 3-1 is perfect defense, but when opponent play with one pivot. And I will try to show you that is also when opponent play with two pivot. Here is the picture and one very important sentence that good zone doesn't exist without interruption. What does it mean? Interruption doesn't mean just a foul. Interruption also means that for you to be aggressive on the ball or the pass. Pivot is problem of all players. Diagonal defensive stance is the basic of this defense, and reaction to the ball is three things what you have to practice. And I will try to jump faster because we will not be on time. But as names say, there is three lines: outer right and outer left center half. That means three, line two with two players, right half and left half, and front center. And here is some how this defense move. But I'm sure that all of you knows all these things. What a basic characteristic of every position. I will suggest you to watch the video or to read the book. Even is my book, I try to put everything what is important inside, like theoretical things, like individual duties, and like things how to practice. But we will take so much time if we speak about these basic things. Here of these pictures, you can see, I hope that you see these gray areas. These areas is assistance between the lines, how these players assist to each other. You see here, you see here, and you see here, how they assist each other. But when opponent play with one pivot, we have a classical situation of 3-1 defense. You see playmaker with the ball. And we say 3, 2, 1. In the moment when he passed the ball to the left back, is not anymore 3-2-1, because you will see this triangle, characteristic of triangle, and you will see big question for someone of you who will say that now these defenders has to stay behind to protect the pivot. No, center half is always between the ball and the goal. And that's why in this moment, as I told you, pivot is problem of all players. And you will see different situation here. When playmaker pass the ball to the right back, now center half is here protecting the pivot, and we have again, but now you see he is on the line between the ball and the goal. And here when ball coming to the wing, left wing in this situation, you will not recognize that this is 3-2-1. This is actually like 6-0 because every player protect his own space. What is happen when opponent play with two pivots? And here we have one of the situation when playmaker pass the ball to the left back and coming inside. You see that here is center half now, and he will protect this guy, second player who coming inside as a pivot. Here is half, and he will continue to do his duty. And here is front center who has to stop playmaker for the moment, not to be there on time. And this is the magical things. And then to stop diagonal passes to the pivot. Here we have transition opposite to the ball, and honestly, reaction is the same. Now, just center half is here covering the pivot, not the second one with number 2. I put the second pivot. And here is different situation, but still one of the back player, left back transition on the ball side. And I have to say that this is not a problem. When opponent move with the ball, this is not a problem for 3-1. Problems coming when opponent ball move from the right to the left, and left back coming inside. Why? Because all players are probably with the eye there to the ball side. That's why it has to be stopped coming inside and then inform the center half. But from all this situation, you recognize something, that front center cover two players. And then you will say, Dragan, is it that possible? In this moment, when ball is with the left back, he is covering the second pivot. And now ball going to the left, to the right back, and he has to move to protect the pivot. And there was a big research in Croatian Institute of Sport, and they analyze of the speed of the shoot, speed of the passes, and movement of defender. On 120 handball games in Croatian Handball League, Shoot speed is about 100 kilometers. Pass is about 34 kilometers. And movement of the player is 13.6 kilometers per hour. What does it mean? That means that in 1 second, he passed 3.7 meters. And here we have one situation when ball, the longest pass on the court is pass wing-wing, about 19 meters in maximum, 2 seconds, defender moves 7 meters, quite enough. And let's watch this situation. A left back pass to the right back, about 8 to 9 meters in 1 second, defender move 4 meters. That means he's still not on the time, but still we have this pass from right back to the pivot, what need the half seconds, and defender move additional 2 meters. That means he is there on the place. And this is realistic and possible, but just by coordinating all actions and all activities of the players. Here you will see two different situations. One, when wing coming, and I will try to explain that this is not a problem at all because he is coming to be closer. If you want to play against 3-1, but I will not teach you this, you have to be wider, not closer. Then if wing coming inside, he will stop and he is covered, he is with the player, and players actually react on less space. If back is going there, then we have classical situation. And here is transition opposite of the ball. And there is one more thing, and I will speak later, and you will see on the video, those are screens. That mean pick and roll situation or 2-on-2 situation. When pivot is going out and they play against here, front center, here 1.5. What our half has to do has to going out more. Never center half is going out. He is going out deeper because if screen is now on 12 meters, then our left back has to shoot over center half and goalkeeper is ready. And this is the situation what we want. This is dangerous if coming inside 9 meters. That's why in the moment when ball moving from the left wing to the left back, this defender is going even more deeply. But why we play defense? We play this defense to score easy goals. That's our target because we theoretically we're fighting with a stronger and taller and better opponents. But if fast break is part of defense, why we don't use it more? What does it mean? Fast break, we have individual, group, and collective, but of course in our days we have extended, and extended fast break is something what is very important. But let's see the role. Goalkeeper role is crucial. Our goalkeepers has to be good from the wings, you will see from the video, but also technique of the saves has to be on that way the ball staying close to the goalkeepers. Then second important thing is how fast is ball back. And third technical things is selection of free player. That means for me, goalkeeper in modern handball is the first playmaker. Before we speak that he is the second playmaker. Now for me, he is the first playmaker because he is the first one choosing the player to pass the ball. Here, that good start gives a chance to the goal, but you will see on video that if you start too early, you open opponent start chance to score. And then our players has to play with and without ball with the perfect techniques of reception the ball, transmission in full movement, dribbling with weak and good hand, pass with weak hand, pass from the weak leg. All those things are important if we want to have a perfect fast break. But there is another important things talking about prevention of the fast break, because if you remember when I start, I told you defense is these 3 parts, but first part is prevention of fast break. And there was a big seminar in European Championship 2008. Claude Onesta has a great topic talking about fast transition from attack to defense. And that was revolutionary in that time, talking about that because rules just change. And here you have a trajectories how they move back. But I would like to speak about a little bit just about individual, group, and collective tactics on prevention. And what is the aim? What is the target? Our target is to set up our defense system. And there is a important thing. Never is too late to run. Second, ball is aim, but we have to cover also the player. We can always erase the mistake of teammate. And fourth, and very important, you will see from examples from Montenegro, that turn at the right time is the crucial thing. It is not about running from 6 to 6, definitely. I don't have time actually to speak about playing 3-1 in numerical superiority when we are 6-on-5 or 6-on-6 when opponent change the the goalkeeper with the player. But we should keep the same philosophy when we play in numerical inferiority. Why? If opponent plays 7-on-6 or 6-on-5, we still should open the space on the court on the place where our goalkeeper is good. That means that we have still to be offensive and aggressive in this area. And you have here two situations with the pivot on the ball side and opposite side. Here is one of the situations what is usually playing against any defense. And I have to say that here, this is not the point to play because in 3-2-1, we don't have here small players playing against pivot. We have here back players and center half who are same strong and same size like the pivot, and there is no reason for opponent to play. And of course, we can play this combined zone. And I give you here two examples that you play if opponent have on one side very good shooter, and on another side some player who is not left-hander or not shooter at all. You can play, you see here on the left side is classical 3-2-1 defense, on the right side is 5-1 defense. And here is the same, but not actually the same, when you have one player playing aggressive of this back-back pass. But actually, we don't have so much time to speak about that because we have to jump on the second part, what has to teach us how to train this defense. It's not enough just to know theoretically, but it's important that we know how to practice, how to train this defense. And I will try to, in few minutes, just to give you some examples how to do this. First, Philip, Sebastian, everything is okay? You see these triangles?
Yeah, everything is okay.
Good. First, it's very important that we understand that triangle is base of any defense. Doesn't matter. If you play 6-0, here we don't have this player. But in 3-1, we have one more correction. Here is left back with the ball. Here is center back. Here is right back. You see all the time we have this triangle. Very important second things, what I will mention now is, and keep in mind this for your possible question, because here you have a correct position. When left back is with the ball, you see all these four players in one line, and you see between him and goal is two players, one player attacking him and another player center half like a blocker. And what is happened if front center, you see here, move a little bit before, now he opened this for the pass and now pivot is unprotected. That means correct position of front center, just a correct position, not any movement, doesn't allow this pass to the pivot, and this is important. But every training, in my philosophy, and I have here examples of the trainings, but we will not see it. First, we start with some warm-up games. Warm-up games, on the beginning of our practice, we use to activate the players. And I prefer that they are competitive, that players fight for something there because they shows their character. And third, they have to be close to the integral part of main task of your training. You cannot make some games that are not connected with with the main part of your training. Second is something what I spoke about, our technique, but also coming to our tactic and also coming to our fast break. That means continuous movement with and without ball. That means taking the position would give you advantage, coordination in full speed, passing ball, as I told you, with a strong and weak hand. those are things what we should practice in introduction part of our training, in speed what we play. Because we play as we practice. That's one of my training philosophy. And goalkeepers, modern goalkeepers has perfect stabilization technique. You will see when Landin saved the ball is very close to him. It's not just Landin, all good goalkeepers. Basic, Peric, Omeyer, Landin, all of them have this stabilization technique. And then they have to pass the ball to the game in the shortest period of time, and of course to make tactically correct decision. But how to practice this? And I will try to show you this, and you will find in the book also. Basic idea is to use an analytical method. What does it mean? To take one part from the game and to practice this on individual and group base. That means if we're doing so, we always work something. We always work on this puzzle, when we collected players or someone from the side, see what was our idea, even don't understand the moment when practice. And my advice is that we always practice in more difficult conditions than is the requires of the game. What does it mean? I practice last 30 years as a head coach, this defense in situation 6 versus 7. Not just now when rules are changed. That was the reason how we practice. And then we practice 2 on 3, 3 on 4, 4 on 5, and 6 on 7. And if you know to play in that conditions, I'm sure that you will play well. Because there is a sentence of Dragan Petrovic, one of the famous basketball players, if we suffer on the training, we enjoy on the game, not other way around. If you enjoy on the training, then you will suffer on the game. And here is some exercise for the center half. You see ball traveling and players move. Here is 2 lines of the players attacking the center half. And I will come back if you have a question about those exercises. Here is exercise for the outers, for the players who play on the side. Players 1 and 6. And you see how they move. And here is some exercise what is used for the player playing in front of defense. Here you see how they going out just to practice this timing. Here is exactly what I told you, 2 on 3 going out and closing. And here is going out and practicing this timing. When is the time to close diagonal pass? I have most of those videos, but we don't have time to see them. Collaboration. We all know the story of the weakest link, but what does it mean? Opponent will always attack the weakest player in defense. What does it mean? That we have to play with cooperation in defense, with coordination, and very important things, with communication. And all these things can be improved just through the training and work. And there is a lot of work. And here is collaboration between halves and front center. You see 3 on 4 exercise and front center just covering. We don't have it's not allowed to pass the ball to the pivot parallelly. It's allowed to pass the ball to diagonal. And here we have collaboration between the center half and halves. Now we practice this timing and center half is practicing his movement. And here is 4 versus 5. You see with the 2 pivots, how we practice. And here is 6 versus 7 and how center half moving and other players help him to do his job on the best way. What does it mean? Mean that team, mean that together everyone achieves more. And that's something what is philosophy of 3-to-1, that we our value as a team is much bigger than as an individual. And according to its formation, 3-to-1 defense give us exceptional position for going in fast break, but also using the handball rules in our day for fast throw off. That is so simple. Even if they score to score the goal for the second. And here is some line of the fast break and some exercise for the fast break, individual, group, and collective, of course. And there is also some exercise of the prevention of the counterattacks. But the final things what I want to tell you before we go to the video is that we should take our attention about details. What does it mean? I already show you how important is this, that this, you see, a right half lose duel with the back player, and back player is now here with the ball, but front center should wait for the second to decide. If he decides to go out, he will open the space for the shoot or pass to the pivot. But if he is here on the position, he still have time to react on the ball and to react on the player. And in these small details, like his diagonal stance, like his triangles, like his movement with the ball, is all secrets of this defense 3-1. And I just give you address where you can order if you want the book, if you want to speak about the book. And I will try to show you some video example. And I hope that this will be interesting. I try to do it shortly and hope that you will see it. First one, I will show three examples. I call it teaching examples. And let's go to share the screen once again. I hope that you see it. Those are different situations in 3-1. Can you see it? Okay, in different situations. This is team of Montenegro playing against Macedonia on European Championship.
Again, I don't have it for me. I don't know for other people. I just have your file.
You see it?
No,
just the sound, Dragan. We have just the sound.
Okay, let's do it once again.
Yeah. It's
now,
okay. It's all right. Yeah.
Good. 3-1 in different situations. I will pass through few situations. First one is forcing shoots. When you force opponent to make a shoot. And you will see this, for example, from European Championship, from some of the best players on the planet. Macedonian team with excellent shooter like Lazarov, Kuzmanovsky, Talevsky, but our block and our defense was ready and they don't have other solution. We covered the pivot and then we offer this situation even for the best player, for the best shooter, Kirill Lazarov, preparing our block and our goalkeeper to react. You see, they are passive and they have to shoot. Second situation is pressure. Now, defense try to make a pressure on pass, and you will see on player, of course, and then just look the center half. He make this pressure with his arm, staying in front of defender and making a pressure on the ball. You see? Pressure on the right back, very deep and offensive, because we know that Lazarov is the main dangerous player. Then on center player, Mirkulovsky, who is also important, like someone who is passing the ball. And you will see again pressure on Lazarov, even close to individual, and then forced shoot from Kuzmanovsky. When opponent attack with the two pivots, you will see now mistake. You see, can you recognize the mistake? I will show you once again before Lazarov shoot. Just see this situation. And if you remember what we spoke, defender, here right half has to stop this player running inside. But unfortunately, my player is playing all his life in German Bundesliga, and as a second defender, he don't do it that. And then you will see that wing is coming without that no one touch. That's very dangerous. But still here we continue to play like we discussed. And Žarko was more than 3 months instructed how to react on this situation. That means we should stop wing. You see transition, but pivot cannot make any advantage because we have a same size of the player. And you will see now that all team, as I told you, here is back transitions. All team helps about pivot. You see 3 players even, because my player was late, but there is a last one in defense, and you will see on the kill pictures that they do the same on next exam. Second things, what is important that you see is pressure. Can you see it?
No.
You don't see it?
No, just the sound, but not the pictures.
Good. Let's go back. Now?
Yes.
It's okay.
Super. Okay, it's very short, talking about pressure and transition. I told you in the beginning that is pressure important, that we press the ball. And this game is qualification game for Euro. Montenegro against Slovakia. And what's happened? We are very deep and offensive on the left side of their attack. There is a Rabek, good shooter, but they play without left-hander player in position of the right back. And that's why here we are not so deep. There is no reason. And now pressure with the ball, and you will see all 6 players running and scoring easy goal. That's the target.
Okay.
Can you see it? Can you see it?
No, the video stopped. We see the video, but it's not.
No, just the picture, but not the move.
Okay. Because here, say that sharing is paused. I will continue once again. Short video. That's why we can do it without problem. And I will not stop. Maybe it's better.
Yeah, it's okay.
And then I will explain you. You see now, as I told you, no right back shooter and pressure on the player who bouncing the ball, all team in fast break scoring the goal. And you will see the second example when we have, again, there is a little bit too much pressure, you will see, but defense will open the chance just on the place where we want. That means on the wing position. And then team will start fast transition, okay? That means nobody's offensive now. Vujovic from Fuchse Berlin, don't make any foul. And then team running in the fast break. And you will see this is not the first way, this is second way. Then we choose the player here, slowest, and we attack him in that phase of unorganized attack. And third example is very important. And talking about how to stop transition. And I see that we again stop, okay. Here is, I think, one of the best team on the planet with the fast transition is, okay, Denmark, but as collective is, in my opinion, Sweden. And here you will see how we play in qualification game against Sweden. We won the game that was first defeat of Sweden after 1.5 years. But you will see that transition is not important to be perfect. You see, team running back, try to make contact. Even here you see that this player is completely alone. But if you stop the player here, or if you stop the player, you will see in the next example, a little bit further. Look at now, foul, where is coming foul? Very far from the goal, and then player is not able to pass perfect pass, even they have completely, Jerry Tolbring is there completely alone, but this small contact, and you see now, immediately when they start the pressure, and that's why I really believe that we should stop opponent not running on 6 meters, and then moving out. We should stop opponent when fast break is made on the beginning. Yeah, sure. And our last video for tonight will be something, I have a lot of examples from this year, and this is the short version. of two finalists of this season of Champions League. Actually, Kiel versus, because Kiel is one of the team who was playing 3-1 defense and on really very solid way. And I will explain you how. Of course, they have a player and they have a goalkeeper able to do this. Okay, I am, for some reason, I'm again out when I wanted to put the full screen. Okay, I will start again. Good.
Yeah.
And let's see it now. Situation with one pivot. And you see Duvnjak on the front, Pekeler behind, who surprised me well, Sagosen there on the left side, Weinhold here. It's four players, and you see how they react. They are very offensive. They center half, you see Pekeler going, he don't stay with the pivot. It's the classical 3-1 defense by probably Noka Serdarušić years.
Yeah.
You see how offensive and deep they are. And you see now how Duvnjak helped here. You will, I have here more examples. Examples from the female handball from this year, from the Euro with Nenad Šoštarić team. But just watch the Kiel and watch mistake of Aalborg, one of the team with a perfect technique when they are pressed. Now, wing transition. Weinhold still didn't stop the pivot, second pivot, and that was the problem. But still, defense offer, you know, if they make this two pivot situation to shoot from 10 meters, be our guest, continue just to shoot over 3 or 4 players. This is the situation, what I told you, that last player helped, like on the video with Montenegro team, small one, small as Zarabets, helped to stop this defense playing. Again, look how deep they are. They try to find how to play against and then shoot over the player, what is somehow not possible. Again, very offensive Duvnjak, second left wing coming inside, but Duvnjak knows how to do this. And if there is a chance, if mistakes happen, that has to be on the wing. And you will see later some more examples. And here is the similar situation, pressing on the ball. What about wing shoots? Wing shoots, our goalkeeper has to be good from the wing. And you see mistake now, because player number 7, out and left, is not on correct position. If he stay there, this ball will come to his end. But Landin shows proper reaction from the wings. And you will see in this game a lot of reaction from the wing position. And actually, in the second part of the game, they cannot shoot because both goalkeepers hypnotize them and they cannot score. Then you see here that Vinček play on Sagosen position, and honestly, Vinček is not the best one playing there, and he make mistake. That's why defense opens so many chances. Running home, stopping fast break. Look at now, how deep is Duvnjak? Look at him. He's waiting there. And now they press the team and coming the long pass. And long pass is not the best option in a fast break. In fast break, you have to be precise. Yeah. But again, look at Duvnjak, look at Sagosen, look at when on what position they wait, and they are still deep and offensive. Now Sagosen is late, and look Duvnjak, he's coming on his position. They switch for the moment, okay, and now Duvnjak just coming back, and Sagosen is there because Duvnjak was changing with Zarabets. You will see the second. Shoot. You see who is shooting? Pivot is shooting, but Duvnjak help. You see how far is Vinček, but with aggressive playing on Duvnjak with his arm, not just with his leg, he's on the place. Last is 6 versus 7, and this is some recipe, probably how to play. Last two player has to help, and this, if this is the best what they can offer, 6 and 7, to shoot from 11 meters or from 10 meters over the block and over the player to the fantastic goalkeeper, be our guest. But what will happen? That will happen often that Duvnjak or goalkeeper punish this, and you will see on this game that this happens, because if you shoot and even you score, look Duvnjak now, and end of the story. Perfect, you score, you shoot, but still you have to change the player. Goalkeeper pass the ball fast, and Duvnjak resolve the situation. Once again, even goalkeeper is able to score the goal. And really easy, and this is the last shoot from the wing position, 7 on 6, but still, as we spoke, what is the main target of our defense? Our defense offers the chance always on the same position. We should not change if they play with 7, if they play with 6. We should not change our philosophy. We should continue to play. And honestly, that's one advantage. In Euro 2018, I was playing in Croatia with team of Montenegro, and we prepared to play just against 6-0 of defense, and most of them has to prepare their attack to play against 6-0 and 3-1. And you know, in modern days, in our days, there is only one resource we are limited by: time. If you have enough time, you will resolve this defense. But if you have time to prepare on big events, on big competition, there is no enough time. And as Philip said, there is a lot of secrets inside, and I am here. I tried to put this in 55 minutes. Sorry that I'm a little bit longer, but I hope that was interesting for our listeners, and I'm ready to answer your questions.
Yeah, first, I thank you very much. It was very, very interesting. Thank you very much. And we could stay 2-3 hours to listen to you. It was so interesting.
More like that. More.
Yeah. Maybe I will start a question, because yes, for the moment there's no question in the chat, but I think that people will ask. My question is, since I read books, I asked myself why so few teams are playing this kind of defense, because it's very efficient. I playing it with my girls, and we win match because of that. But we are the only one to play that. It's why there is so few teams who are playing it.
You know, in history of handball, we have a different parts with dominant defense. And if you ask me, 5-1 was the dominant defense of France, and I will ask you the same question: why France don't play 5-1 now? Why they play 6-0? I think that there is like in the life, a lot of fashion things, and if we see someone successful and playing that defense, okay, I say I will play the same. And don't take me wrong, I'm a handball expert. I like handball so much. I live handball. But handball becomes so boring because we are all not brave enough. We all play same attacks. We all play same movement, 6 on 5, 7 on 6. We all play same defense. We have to search a little bit more. For me, female handball is the hope. In female handball, you have a much more different teams playing. Angola play on one way, Scandinavian team play on another way, Brazilians play on third way, Koreans play on fourth way. In men's handball, everyone almost, if you change the colors, you will not recognize who is who. Why other teams don't play more? I prepared here 3 examples. One is Rhein-Neckar 11 from this season, from European Cup. One is Kiel, And third one is Croatian national team playing on European Championship, winning the bronze medal with the team without teams, without some special players, with no name team. And I have to say this is like a fashion, and that can be another way, because I really believe that we are all different, but that we have different ideas, and that we can use, if we have only one defense, we don't have any defense, because our opponent will prepare for us. Yeah. We must be able to play different style. Like any player who has one shoot or one feint, it's easy to be scouting, and then we can find solution. Second answer, why we don't play more, is probably that we don't train enough, that our teams are not ready. But my main answer is, I will come on the beginning of my theoretical presentation, is selection. Because in our days, our wings are not, it's not about physically, because I'm professor of physics, that's my professor. Force is mass, multiply, acceleration. And if you stop the tall player on the beginning when he don't have any speed, then you can stop him with one finger, just with the movement of your legs.
Sure.
And that's why it's important that we select wings when they are young, who can play on position 2 or 5, or who can play on the front of defense, individual defense. Then I really believe that teaching 3-2-1 is much easier than teaching 6-0.
Of course, yeah.
Less complicated, for sure. And then that can be surprised that we can play when we have player more. We can play when we want to run for results. We can play in different situations. Of course, as a trainer, I will choose to play this against good shooter, not against 3 small players who will find a way how to play one-on-one. Question is good. Actually, it's the best question. And I have to provide answer why I write this book. After 50 years without any book, without any information of 3-2-1 defense, even in ex-Yugoslavia, there is no anything about this. 50 years of secrets. I say that is the moment now to present this defense and this philosophy, because it's much more than defense, I have to say. And if we start to speak now with a long discussion, to present different philosophy of handball and to push the people to be different, to be yourself, play with your players something what is characteristic of your team. That's my message. Play 3-2-1 like any other defense, because this is defense like any other. And if it's best for your team, maybe it's not best for my team. But if we know the rules, if we know how to play, then it's easy.
Okay, thank you. Yes, there is some questions to you, Tivafre.
Yeah, yes, I see.
Yes, Dragan, we have questions.
Let's go by some order. Okay.
All right. We have the first from Lazarus, who asks this: how to pass the philosophy of defense is the better attack to players when they're only interested in scoring goals?
Translate on French, and I will answer. Translate the question en French, please.
Comment transmettre la philosophie de la défense Comment transmettre la philosophie de la défense qui est la meilleure attaque aux joueurs quand ils ne s'intéressent, enfin que leur intérêt n'est qu'à marquer des buts. Voilà.
I truly believe that we, as a coaches, we are able to do this. We are able, and we have to stay behind our words, because if we pay more players who score than players who assist, that means that we favorize this. If we pay more money for players who play in attack than players who play in defense, then we favorize it. That's why when I start with the selection, when we select the player, why we don't choose player who is able to play defense and attack instead of player who play just in attack? Because in that moment, we decide we need to change at least one player, defense and attack, if our player is not able to play. That means that we have to push from early days our player to play defense. And second, I have to say that is playing on the good, on the amazing way, like Richardson play defense in front of 5-1, is we also has to publish this, to speak about this, to promote this, to always to brave this, always to thanks for this. And that's one of the way how they can decide to play in defense. But for me, message what I send you in presentation is that young players has to come to the team into defense, because I will not change any young player just to play attack. No chance. I will change him to play defense if he wants to play defense. And that's the way how I can stimulate him. But when they play defense, he is fast enough and young enough and prepared enough, he will run in fast break. And then he will score. And then when he scores, he will stay maybe a little bit on the court, because it's not just about us. It's also between the players. Player has to improve that he's good enough to play with adults. How he can do it? By defense. They will respect him more. That's my understanding. I hope that I answered.
Yes.
Next.
On passe à la seconde, Philippe?
Yes.
Okay, we have the other question. I translate in French, Dragan?
Yes.
Ok. Donc, nous avons une autre question, alors, donc, que je revienne. C'est une question de Wilson Davis, que l'on connaît de nom, en tout cas, qui nous a demandé quoi de plus difficile pour une défense 3-2-1? Qu'est-ce qui est le plus difficile donc, pour une défense 3-2-1? Des ailiers ou des arrières circulant sans ballon dans les 6 mètres, ou des différentes situations du 2 contre 2 entre les arrières et le pivot? Voilà.
Okay, Wilson, you want me now to speak on opposite way. Even on the book, I didn't want to speak about other way, not just to make secrets, because for me it looks stupid to speak about good things and then to speak that these good things are not good enough. If you remember from the presentation, both are similar dangerous. Why I think for 3-1 is not a problem if any player coming in with the ball. That means ball coming from the left side to the right, and then left wing or left back coming. But defense is already there. For 3-1 defense, for any defense, but for 3-1 is problem if ball coming from the left to the right and then right wing coming inside. Why? Because some of them probably don't have this peripheral view, because we say that rules are that we are ball orienting. But individual rules is that you have to see the ball and you have to cover your place, what you protect. And if there is someone in your zone, what you protect, you have to cover him. What mean cover? That means that any pass going through this zone has to be stopped. Yeah. That means that any player move with or without ball has to be stopped. And if we treat on that way, that means we play perfect defense. Because Wilson, what is the point of this running inside? Timing. And if players is there on time, attack is successful. But if we stop him for the second, for the moment, with chest, like Dinar, with the movement, with informing other players that he will be there, then we can be successful. And that's the point. We should, timing is very important. I told you, don't move before, don't move later. But also, if you remember, there was also written that player duty is to protect space, but not just from the plus, not just from the player with the ball, also from the movement, from the breakthrough movement. I call these channels. If we close these channels, then our defense is very compact and strict. If you are not satisfied with answer, please come.
Il me semble qu'on a fait le tour, non, Philippe?
Il y en a une de Frédéric.
Ah, je ne l'ai pas vue.
Ouais.
Je l'ai zappé, pardon. Tu peux me la retrouver, s'il te plaît?
Ah oui, non, mais je l'ai, je vais la poser. Du coup, c'est la question de Frédéric, c'est combien de temps il faut pour apprendre, pour s'entraîner pour être efficace avec cette défense?
Ah, Dragan est encore là?
Oui.
D'accord. I translate the question, Dragan.
Yes.
Is a question. It's a question from Frederick. Can you repeat, please, Philippe? It's how difficult to learn the defense 3-1 of how long do you have to? It's that, Philippe?
Tu parles à qui là? Pardon, parce que
Toi,
là, je répondais à un message.
Ah, excuse-moi, parce que j'ai pas. Tu peux répéter la question de Frédéric pour que je
Donc,
puisse
Frédéric demandait en fait combien de temps il faut s'entraîner à la 3-2-1 pour être efficace en match.
How long do you must to train the defense 3-1 for that you are very good enough in the game to have this? How
Good.
long?
I will try to answer in the same moment to Ada, probably is the lady or is my mistake, from Slovakia, because she said that is the coach of the girls team, 15 to 18 years, and that they, yes, thank you, Ada. And that they practice, and she said that this defense must be understood in the minds of all players. We start the training here at the age of 13. If you remember, during the presentation, I told you that it's very important, and this is subject of my second book. What I plan to write now is something completely different about game preparation, but there is no two sides. There is no coach side and team side. One philosophy has to be philosophy of all. What does it mean? You cannot play this defense if your players don't know theoretically complete task, complete philosophy of defense, and don't understand their own duty. Because when you prepare for the game, or when you prepare to play this defense, you have to understand what is your duty, but also what is duty of other players around you, and what is duty of your team. That's how start. But our player, honestly, we practice with them a lot. But how long we speak with them about philosophy of the game, about philosophy of attack, about philosophy of defense. What is the point? And trust me, any minute what you spend with them, it has a value like an hour of the practicing. Because if they understand better, they will understand why you're shouting there, why you are crazy if something is not working well. And now I will try to answer Frederic. First of all, I will suggest that you present them different philosophy. Then to work like a Lego, not to open all your cards, to work on small things. 2 on 3, 3 on 4, on left side, right side, center part. And then when you connect them, they will know much more about that defense, and then you will start to play. I can tell you from my personal experience, I was coaching different teams. With some of them, I played 3-1 in Macedonia, of course. With some of them in Hungary, for example, I have 1 year international team in Pixeged with a lot of players from ex-Yugoslavia. I can play. Another year, I was with a player like Meze, Doros, those giants, and I was playing 6-0 or 5-1. Doesn't matter. That's my team. I have to field them. I have to play best defense with the team what I have. But this small joke is about Ukraine player who grow up in a classical mind, and that's the answer to Ada and to Frederic. And he cannot understand why he has to follow the ball and to leave the pivot alone. He said, Sucha bljat, you all know what does it mean. How to leave him alone? And then you can try as much as you want, but if they don't have this base, if you don't present them, if they grow on that philosophy, it's really difficult. That's why I believe that we should trust, okay, you can do it with in your team is much easier, actually. With the national team, it's difficult because now how looks the competition of national team? We collect them for 7 days, and we have to rest them. We have to prepare mentally, physically. We have to speak with the journalists. We have to speak about tactics. They have to rest a little bit because all of them are tired. When it's time to work, actually, your clubs are nucleus where you can teach people, teach them to love our game and teach them to think different. And 3-1 defense is one of the way to think different, nothing else. I don't call this like a superior defense, what will resolve all your problems, but for sure will not be easy, especially for the players who play now, who don't attack any other defense than 6-0. Yeah. When you open something, they find a lot of difficulties. And if your players know more, your team will be better. That's my philosophy. But honestly, 3-1 defense can bring the group together. It's always easy to come a little bit back and to stay on 6-0. You can always do that. And if we have time to watch the videos of Reinecker Leuven, for example, or in this season, one of the team in Slovenia with my ex-assistant, Jure Šterbuc, S&C coach, play this defense on the way. When they have a second pivot, they go back on 6-0. Yeah. Because they are not able enough to resolve the problem, but they find a way. When they're in 6-0, opponent move again to 3-back. When they have to be 3-back, they have to play against 3-1. If we think about, we find solution. I see one more question from Frederic. What are the main skills for a goalkeeper with 3-1 defense? Sébastien.
Oui, quelles sont les principales compétences d'un gardien pour, sur une défense de type 3-2-1? Tout à fait.
Let's be honest. In this game, goalkeepers are most important part. If you find why Denmark won these 2 World Championships, you will find 50 or even more than 50% saved ball from 9 meters. That's why they play 6-0. They have excellent block. They going against 2 and 5. They put you to shoot over these 2 giant and killer on position 3 and 4. And if you shoot, there is amazing goalkeepers. All 3 of them are good, and Nielsen, and all 3 of them are perfect. And then running fast break with 2 wings. Honestly, you cannot play 3-1 if you don't have goalkeepers good from the wing position. There is many different interpretation, even from the amazing handball player from the history would say that it's not possible to play 3-1 in our days because now wings are amazing. Honestly, I remember a lot of wings. Most of them were amazing, even in 70s and 80s. Every decade has a dominant player. But if you want to play 3-1, your goalkeepers need to practice a lot from the wing and need to develop their technique and tactic. 2 different things. And then you will not have problem with 6-on-7 because you will play the same. If someone is alone, will be the wing. And then they have to change the goalkeeper. Then they have to change the wing. And pivot who is late, they are always without at least 2 players. But when I speak about goalkeepers, I will remind you about these 3 things. First is technique, saving technique. It's not enough just to save the ball. If he saved the ball and ball is on spectators area, what we can do? It's enough to save the ball and the ball stay close to him. Then second is how fast ball running back on the court. For this is not just the speed, it's also technique. And third, tactically, to teach your goalkeeper, first, to pass the ball fast. Second, to pass the ball correctly. And third, and most important, to pass the ball tactically correct. And that means goalkeeper has to be good from 6 meters and wings. Okay, just a brief observation on your comparison between 6-0 and 3-1. Honestly, honestly, there is no big difference now. If you observe 6-0 now and compare with the Soviet 6-0 in 80s, it's completely different. If you show this 6-0 to someone from 80s, 90s, he will say this is not 6-0 at all. To attack 6-0 with two pivots, it was not possible because all of them stayed there. But now when 6-0 is even aggressive, like a 3-1 defense, in some cases, I have to say that 6-0 is more risky because there is no someone to help. In 3-1, you have center half always helping you. Always there is, if you play in front. If 6-0, if you lose, then everyone who helped is just pass, and someone is alone, or back, or wing, or pivot. That means modern 6-0, I agree when you say that most of the team's coaches follow trends, yes. There are also physical factor, which makes 3-1 like, I disagree. I have to say this is very important. I'm sorry that we pass time so much, but let's answer the question.
Yes, of course.
There is a huge difference between 3-1 and 6-0. What people even don't know if they read my book. And million things are there in the book, and some of the secrets are between the pages. First, and very important, is that this defense is more economical than 6-0. Why? In 6-0, your back players play 60 minutes on high attention in attack and defense because their roles in attack and defense are crucial. In 3-1, you have players playing in front who are wings and pivot. And your backs, I will not say take rest, but they are on side. Your backs, by selection, play outer left and outer right. And on that way, you jungle and you have some players who didn't spend so much energy, like wing, in attack, playing in defense with full speed, fighting, bringing their mental, psychological things on the high level. That's why I think that in 3-1, even is difficult to play offensive, aggressive on the proper way, you balance between attack and defense. And let's think on that way that is suitable sometime to play on that way, maybe 15 minutes and then 15 minutes on 6-0, because you give a different role to different players. And actually you play with all 14 players of your team, and all of them are important.
And if I can say something, yes. Dragan, because I'm playing this defense for one year now, and for me it's less physical than 0-6, because I think that when you playing for taking the ball on the to catch a ball, it's less physical than to make one against one in defense. And I think it's less physical in that way too, because when you don't fight with the pivot to fight with him, not to let him shoot, it's more physical than take the ball before he took the ball, the pivot, for example. That's why. And for me, that's why it's not so physical than we think.
Thank you for the first and for the last question, because 3-1 is not about wrestling with no one. 3-1 is about to predict what will happen in advance, to be on right time on proper place. But 3-1 means to stop the players before fighting, to stop him with your legs, with your arms. Sometimes it's not necessary to move. Sometimes it's enough to play with the arms up. And when I spoke on the beginning to stop the pivot without contact, as you say, that is example from the video if you remember, when center half just catch the ball in front of him, because if pivots receive the ball, Stoilov from 130 kilos, you don't have any chance.
Yeah, of course.
By rules, he will be gifted with penalty, with 2 minutes suspension, with everything. That's why I find 3-1 even more clear for better game. 3-1 is not fighting with someone and going there and have a fight. It's absolutely different. Thank you for your question, really.
I think what we can do maybe for 5 minutes, maybe we can people can ask directly their question by opening their micro or vidéo. Qu'est-ce que vous en pensez? Vous pouvez peut-être poser vos questions directement en ouvrant votre vidéo ou votre micro. C'est peut-être plus simple en fait de faire comme ça.
I send my email address.
Yes.
If you want to make some question after, because there is always people who don't make a question in front of others.
Yeah.
And you can contact me in any moment and ask me whatever. I will share with you whatever I have, videos, documents, whatever, because I really don't believe in secrets, especially in 21st century.
Mais if there is, s'il n'y a plus de questions, ben, je vous propose qu'on s'arrête là. En tout cas, big thank you for you, Dragan. It was very, very, very interesting. And maybe we can say that you should come back for a second one. Maybe you can speak about that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. There is the things what I want to share with the people, and that was my pleasure. I have to say thank you for invitation and say thank you for attention for everybody who stayed to the end. There is a lot of things to speak, and I wish the colleague, if they have anything, they can contact me in any moment, and wish you good luck with your project. Just continue to do what you start. You have my support.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Merci à tout le monde. Donc, on se retrouve bientôt pour un prochain webinaire sur d'autres thèmes, d'autres problématiques. Sébastien, si tu veux dire un petit mot.
Bien, merci à toutes et à tous pour votre attention et thank you very much, Dragan, for giving this very interesting webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
And I hope I see you in another day with other subjects, because I have a lot of questions for you too.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup à tous et puis à très bientôt. Bonne soirée à vous tous et merci encore pour ce super moment. Je vous dis au revoir à tous et à très bientôt.
Ok, au revoir tout le monde.